we all agree that Paradise on Hulu is one of the best political thrillers we got? It's one of the best we got in a while.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree, and it feels very topical right now. Hits a lot of current events in a good way, you know.
And it's like, I know they probably didn't plan it that way, but it all kind of worked out in its own accord.
Yep. Before we get going, though, guys, this is our first time ever recording for the new podcast. So I want to say hi to everyone out there that don't know us. So I don't know if you guys want to say your names first and then.
Hi, I'm Mark Nettles. It's great to see everyone. You know, clap if you're listening. Don't clap if you're driving.
Yeah, I definitely recommend not taking both your hands off the wheels, especially if it is icy where you are, the way it is icy where we are. Pay attention to that. I'm Elle / still from Brooklyn.
And I am Rubén, Crossroads. And yes, we've been working on this for a couple weeks now. And we were thinking about starting last week, but our boy over here, Mark, he went off in a Game of Thrones trivia adventure and came out as a champion. So
I went on my cruise and I dominated Game of Thrones trivia. You know what? Didn't dominate it too much. It was 19 out of 20, tied with someone, but I won in overtime. So applause to me.
You won. So that's all. That's good. And you had a good time overall.
Sounds like
but yeah, I guess
to me.
Exactly. So yeah, I just wanted to, before we get, because we've been dying to talk about this show, but at the same time, it is our first episode, and I just wanted to throw things out there and kind of introduce ourselves a little bit. And today we'll be talking about Paradise, as Mark said at the beginning, and I think it definitely will include spoilers. We're going to talk about first 5 episodes, right?
Yes, spoilers all the way through episode 5, because that's all we could watch at the moment. But I know it's going to have 8 episodes, so y'all stay tuned for us reviewing those other 3.
Oh, it's going to be 8?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So yeah,
TV shows had like 20 plus episodes a season. I miss those days.
I feel like we would have got 15 out of this at least like 7 years ago.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Did you guys ever watch the show? Because my wife, I barely remember it, but my wife was a huge fan. Under the Dome, I think it was.
I missed that.
Well, she was telling me that it's very similar to what we're getting here on Paradise. This one might have more of the political thriller aspect to it, but still. And I think that one went on for a really good time and quite a few episodes. So yeah, we're in this 8 episode world now, man.
Now, I got a question for you too about the first episode. And I know everyone that's listening, you already know, hey, twist at the end, they're under a dome. But when you were watching that episode, did you know that they were all in a mountain somewhere?
Absolutely.
No, I did not.
The fuck no.
Yeah. It's like when I rethought about it and they showed us all the clues again at the end of the episode, I'm like, oh, that makes all the sense.
But also it was like, no.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it did. You say what?
I was just going to say, I think the first thing that threw me off was we see a flashback of Cal, who's our Agent Collins, talking to the president. The president's like, hey, I'm just going to do this for one more term, 4 more years. And then they flash forward, it says 5 years. And I'm like, what happened? How you get an extra year out of this?
Yes.
I think I missed the 5 years thing. So I always multitask when I watch. So occasionally there are things on the screen and I don't catch them. And apparently I can miss something that was fairly significant. So
well, they've been doing it like quite a bit in terms of like going back and forth with the timeline. So I'm sure you're pretty much caught up with.
Yeah. That was just one of those clues in the first episode.
Yeah. I noticed it now. I just didn't notice initially that it was like 5 years. So
now from the get-go, I did get the vibe that it was somewhere isolated, I will say. Like I did get the vibe that this was a very not hidden in where it is and all the technology that they have with a fake nature and even fake sky and all of that. I never imagined that. But I did imagine, well, I did think it was like this isolated place because it was just too perfect. Everything was just looked so crisp and clean. And I was like, there's no way that's, right now.
They're just jogging up to the president's house, and they never show the White House. So I'm like, now how are you jogging that close to it?
Yeah, I
What are you
did
saying?
not realize. I mean, if somebody had said it's underground, I definitely would have guessed where, because like that makes sense. Like that makes sense. I think like with the Hunger Games. I don't know if you guys are into that much, but the Capitol being in that vague vicinity also makes sense. But I didn't think they were underground.
Oh no.
I did not
Yeah.
think.
I guess they're not technically underground, more of hollow earth type thing when they're in the
Right.
mountain.
Right, like if you're above sea level, because I think they're probably above sea level just in a mountain. So if you're above sea level, are you really underground?
So
Based on what we saw from the last episode, they're at least 500 feet above sea level because
Yeah.
the East Coast was gone.
okay. They said that. Okay.
Although,
I
granted,
missed
have
that.
certainly been above sea level with ground underneath me, and if I had been buried, I probably would have felt like I was underground. But the point is, I don't think we realized they were inside a mountain.
No.
Yeah.
I was not that clever.
I was gonna ask y'all, is it inside a mountain or is it? Because I had thought it was like in a cave, somewhat underground. So it is inside a mountain.
I think it's the Rocky Mountains. Like they hollowed out. They got all the biggest, baddest billionaires and paid for the largest project ever.
Yeah. Which, by the way, now that you say the whole billionaire stuff, I thought it was so from the get go. I was sold just because they came up driving Rivians, which is the other like big electric car that's like a big competition for Tesla. And I was like, I see what you're doing right there. I see what you're doing right there, not using Tesla and stuff. There's a whole Elon
that would have
Musk
been too
stuff.
on the nose. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Good decision.
And then you have all these billionaires whenever they're having their conversations. I don't know if you guys watch with subtitles. I do. But it says like billionaire one, billionaires fighting, billionaire two, and yep, that
oh my god,
that feels a little bit too close. Obviously, not in terms of money, but of our current days.
Yeah. It's crazy that they even to have that amount of power, and I guess we haven't really got a good sense of. At least I don't think we have. Are these billionaires from around the world? Were they just American billionaires? I'm assuming they're from around the world because you want to get the richest people ever from everywhere, and then our girl Sinatra, now has them under her thumb.
But did we see like? I don't think we saw like.
I feel like I wouldn't be shocked if in the future we see, billionaires who are not American, but I feel like thus far, and also these people suck, and so they're probably xenophobic as well. So I can definitely see them saying no other languages under the mountain. We are all speaking English here. I can see. I can see that.
I don't remember seeing any of the for example, the billionaires being like Asian or something.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like all of them were from the States. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if all of them are connected with billionaires from other places and each country has their own cave
that would
thing.
be shocking. Although I was actually wondering, how convinced are you that the rest of the world has suffered this catastrophe in the same way the Americas have? Because I am on board with the idea that North America has suffered this catastrophe, sure. And it wouldn't shock me if South America did, but I'm not, I don't know, I'm just not convinced that the entire world suffered this. And I also, like, theoretically it's natural causes, but also when they're in the plane, they see like the flash, which to me felt like nukes.
Yeah. Yep.
So like I'm not sure which. So I'm not convinced that the entire world has suffered the same way. But the United States / probably North America, since I don't think there's a way to really tactically, target the United States and not hit Canada and Mexico with natural disasters. That just feels difficult to me. But so I'm not convinced it was actually all like natural stuff, and I'm not convinced that the entire world got fucked the way like North America did. What do you guys think?
Because I know we see the scientists, we see Sinatra speak to that initial scientist that talks about, hey, if Antarctica melts and falls into the ocean, it'll cause the East Coast. So in my opinion, I was thinking like, all right, whatever's touching the Atlantic, based on what side it fell on, was obliterated, basically. So all East Coast of the United States is probably gone. That side of Africa, Europe, South America on at least the Atlantic side, and probably most of lower South America, probably wiped off the map. But like you said, I'm not convinced that the flooding maybe reached all the way to like Central Eurasia, or like we see in the episode, it didn't reach the Rockies all the way. There are people who survived, but now we have to ask the question, since we do see that flash, was some of this probably man-made? Did they help Antarctica kind of explode, or did they launch nukes at different places in America or around the world?
Or did they launch nukes at America to stop Antarctica just because it's like, I don't know. I don't really trust anything any of these motherfuckers are saying. So it's like, did the rest of the world say, the Americans are doing all this shit, it's time to nuke them off the planet?
Yep.
Like, I just don't trust them.
Yeah, but billionaires talk. They could have told some of their billionaire friends in another country. They're like, hey, what do you mean you're getting a bunker? What's that for? We need to attack them.
Yep. I feel like it's been a while since I've watched a show where weekly I am changing which character I don't trust.
Yeah.
And it's happened to me with this show quite a bit. And like after last week's episode, I was a little bit more convinced that Gabriela was actually kind of sus. But after the last episode, the 5th episode, I was a little bit more on the side of, wait, no, she is good. It's just that Cal was going through, I don't think honestly, now I don't think she's bad or anything. She could be. She very well could be. But my level of threat was up here after episode 4. After episode 5, it went down just because Cal, he didn't have all of his points connected the right way all the time. When he started noticing and he opened up that tablet using his father's hand and whatever, for example, he was afraid of Billy, thinking that Billy is full on devoted to Sinatra, but we know he wasn't. He just did what he pretty much was forced to do, because if he didn't do it, which was horrible, of course, and we know at this point that he was a trained assassin, he wasn't going to go back to his family, which is Savior and the kids and whatnot, the life that he never had, that he only has down there in the cave. So for Cal, obviously, he was like, holy shit, this guy is, all good with Sinatra. He is a trained killer. Like, he can kill anyone pretty much. That's why he was all nervous, and he told Gabriela, like, hey, if something happens to me, this is the person that they send. They send Pace, is it? Billy Pace or something like that?
Oh, my favorite
they
character.
send Billy. They send Billy to take them out. So that's why he was all nervous about him, not thinking that Sinatra might actually have a whole bunch of other people, which we now know with Jane, I believe it's her name, the one that took our boy out. So that's why my threat level for Gabriela went down quite a bit, because it was ultimately everything like a misunderstanding or just not putting points correctly. What do you guys think?
I still think we need to I'm not sure how far that client confidentiality works down there in the bunker. And there's a chance she may have had to tell Sinatra, or the room's just bugged. That's why when Colin comes here later, she's like, hey, let's go somewhere else to talk. Because why would we assume that every place is bugged, even the little watch thing that they all have to wear to enter places and pay for things?
Well, but isn't that why the president had it written on his hand and he didn't say it to her. Like, he didn't tell her Billy was suspicious. Like, he wrote it on his hand.
Mm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he said, Xavier's the one I trust, but I think the Billy thing was just on his hand. So that
yes, it
if
was.
there
Yes.
are cameras, that could be a problem, but if the room's just bugged, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, I think it's fair to say that he's not trustworthy, given, you know, he, well, there were a bunch of scientists that he killed, which, okay, one, that's bad just on a moral level, but two, those are not the, like, I feel like jumping straight to killing the scientists, motherfuckers, you need the scientists. It's like, if you are in this kind of situation, like, there are like a few groups of people who you super need. And it's like doctors and scientists. And I'm not saying other people aren't important. I'm just saying that
yes,
you are fucked if you don't have your doctors and your nurses. And if you don't have scientists who are able to say, well, all right, now suddenly there's some issue with the air supply here, so we should fix that. It just feels like
that
and there's
sounds like a
25,000 people there. That's not that many.
No, but that's a decision I would expect from a billionaire in control of that situation. They're doing what's good for what they think the bottom line is. It's not about advancing it's about, hey, we're going to protect this for as long as we can, and at worst, maybe we'll leave in some generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that who knows if, man, how do they say, what's that saying? Hindsight is 2020. Like, at this point, we can say, like, oh, Billy maybe could have sneaked the scientists back in and maybe not killed them and whatnot.
He couldn't have done that.
But, but there was no, I don't feel like there was a way for him. So you're not saying, like, we should crap on Billy
no,
that
I'm just
much.
saying Sinatra's choice is insane.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
But, I mean, yeah, but I think it's fair to say, like, Billy is suspicious, and given what he heard there. I think the other thing that is helpful in terms of figuring out where people stand in my, like, evaluating them is seeing, like, you know, the flashbacks, because I would have thought that she was more suspicious if we hadn't actually seen evidence of her telling, of the president telling her, I don't trust this guy. But that lines up with what she said. So, you know, there might be other things that she's not saying, but that's lining up.
Right.
So it's, yeah, so I just, like, that is helpful in some ways, even though we're not getting the full story.
No. But I do like how we're learning things in the show. Like, we'll get a conversation that happened, and then later in a few episodes down the road, they might recontextualize the conversation by showing us, hey, this is what happened before. This is what happened immediately after. Now we're going back going, okay, it's starting to make a little more sense. They're doing a good job on that.
Oh,
but that's still what's got me questioning Gabrielle. I'm still not sure. Not on your side, Rubén.
No, that's actually, though, something that, like, kept occurring to me, you know, with Billy's whole, you know, don't go near Collins and his family, like, don't, like, initially it's like, okay, this is emotionally driven. But now it's like, is it about the fucking tablet?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how'd Presley get it? It seems like she was there. Because his the father...
We already know she was there from, when was it? She mentioned it to Xavier at one point, I believe. She, like, confessed it, no? Who was it that she confessed it to? Or was it his son? That she used to go there to play Wii with Billy and
what's her name?
Jane?
Jane, yeah. She used to go there and play Wii with Billy and Jane.
But it just feels like that's the grandfather/father. It just felt more
like he saw her somewhere she shouldn't have been in the house. Yeah. Like, something seemed off about that.
But
yeah.
So on one hand, she was there theoretically, but also I'm like, is part of why he's saying don't go after them because he got the fucking tablet and gave it to her. Like, is that conversation that they had that was theoretically just about boys like, was part of that also about the tablet?
Now, who are you saying you think gave her the tablet? Just so I make sure.
Billy gave the
Billy.
tablet to Presley.
So you think did
Yeah.
Billy know about the tablet?
We don't, I mean, it seems like he,
I think they knew about the box, but I'm not sure if they knew what was inside of the super secret box. At least Billy probably didn't.
I mean, how do we know?
Mm-hmm.
So are we thinking that Presley witnessed, maybe not see it, but some way somehow noticed that the president was in danger, as in Cal?
I think it's hard because we know that when the cameras went off before the president died, it was killed. But we know Billy and Jane were playing Wii together, and maybe Presley was there. So did she go in a different way to get in? But why would she be going through the president's room to get in the house to play Wii?
Yeah,
I
it's,
think whoever killed the president gave Presley the tablet.
I don't think they would.
I don't think so either, but
my
like, how the hell does she have it, man?
my other thought is that, like, anybody could have been in the house. Again, my guess is Billy, because he's the one who has most opportunity to be there and have it make sense. But I'm also wondering, I couldn't really read her face when she saw it, so I'm like, did she know it was there, or did Billy say there is something under your bed or under your mattress or whatever that he put there or that somebody put there? Like, I couldn't tell if it was something that she had put there herself or if it was something where she knew something was there because somebody had told her, but she did not know what it was.
Is
I
there
don't
a
know if that makes sense.
chance some crazy world where Billy got into the room before Cal did? But the cameras were working at that time.
Yeah.
I just I don't think I don't think Billy killed the president. I don't know.
Oh, I don't think Billy killed the
Yeah.
president.
I don't think so either. I don't think so
I
either. So are we doing this? Are we doing the who do we think killed the president? Should we go
Yeah.
ahead and add that now?
It's beyond me.
Well,
So,
so
who do you think, Al? Who do you think killed the president?
I don't know, but I think it's like we can't rule anybody out. Like,
True.
even if it seems absolutely ridiculous, because the thing is, something I did when I was younger that pissed everyone around me off was if there was something that I couldn't really just lie about, I would refuse to contradict anything, no matter how ridiculous it was, because my stance was, well, if I say, oh no, of course that's not what happened. Oh no, of course, that, like, if I contradicted anything and I only started to get cagey when it was something closer to the truth, like, that gave them information. But
Mm.
if I just refused to say, maybe, I was just like, maybe, who knows? That could be. It pissed everyone around me off to no end. But, so, if we're running down the list,
My bad. Before what you said something that's really interesting because I think, or it might have been Mark. At this point, I feel like all of us can we could make a point for everyone. The way they have written this up, I forget the name of the showrunner or the creator. The way they've done it, I was at points even thinking, damn, did Xavier do it? Because he was really pissed off about whatever happened to his wife, which we don't have all the information out there yet. We do know that, like, Cal, whatever, he did something where she did not end up where she was supposed to. And the way, and maybe this speaks volumes to the incredible talent of Sterling K. Brown, but he had me sold at some points, thinking like, shit, like, did Savior do it? And he's just that good and that tactical and driven right now based off of the death of his wife. Dude, like, I don't know, man. If your wife dies, someone, and especially in a marriage where it seems like they were really like together, it was a really, really like united family. I don't know. I was at points thinking like if he could have done it. I don't think he did, but sorry. I just wanted to say that
no,
before you
yeah,
kept going because
Yeah.
that's really interesting when it comes to the way they have written this show.
yeah. But let's run down. I don't think his son did it, but we should evaluate that just as a thing. if we're gonna
his
run
son.
down
Oh,
everybody
okay.
and not because before this,
Jeremy. Okay. I
what's
thought you said
Jeremy, when he
yes.
said that's a fop name, I'm like, what's a
oh,
fop, Grandpa? I had to Google.
no, I don't remember his name. Collins' son, Presley's brother.
Oh, little man. Let
Oh,
me.
Xavier's.
James.
James.
James
Yeah.
Collins.
From James and the Giant Peach. Yeah.
Because before this episode, I would not have suspected. Fuck, I'm misremembering every single name. What's the agent who was with Billy, who then killed him? Jane.
Jane.
All right. So I would not have suspected her of being anything at all before this episode. So it's just like, let's start with like everybody. But I think that the small child probably didn't do it.
And yeah.
But if you're Sinatra, won't you have to train your next generation of spies and assassins somewhere? And you have the one school to do it. So can we eliminate all the teenagers we've seen?
I think no.
Mm-hmm.
Like the teenagers are more suspicious to me.
Yeah, because
Small
Sinatra.
child is a little.
This is wild because I've been so damn naive about the kids, man.
I don't trust none of them. If
like-
they get under the influence of if somebody gives you oogles of money, even though money's worth nothing down there, they give you something extra that you couldn't get by yourself. What are you willing to do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
that is true.
Does Presley blame her father for her mother not being saved? Like, we don't know how she feels about that and where she is with that, because if it hasn't been explained to her, and even maybe if it had been, like, I don't know, that happened to me, I'd be pretty pissed at my father for, leaving my mother outside. I mean, right now it wouldn't matter so much because my mom is ashes and my dad is alive. But, as a general thing.
Yeah.
As a thing.
We still got to figure out who did this. We don't. And that's the hardest part, like, because that's the crux of the whole mystery of the show. Who killed the president? And now we got everybody else dying around him. Or at least one person. Shout out to Billy, R.I.P. And I can't eliminate Presley. And I know I don't think it's going to be her. But just her having the tablet, maybe Billy put it there.
So you guys are selling that to me, honestly. And now I'm thinking, like, what if, like Elle was saying, you mentioned something about being mad with her father, but being mad as well with the president, knowing that, her father not explaining, like you said, Elle. And I can imagine her going in there and obviously the president, Cal, not really like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, not expecting what's going to happen. Listen, you guys have me now thinking
and
wild
the
about the kids.
The president's son is Jeremy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It also is like, the way Xavier's talking, it's like, Presley, it feels like she has been saying she doesn't like Jeremy at all. Mm-hmm. But the vibe I got from them was not quite as much animosity. It seems like maybe they are more friendly now than they were. But also, maybe you do because it's a nice human thing to do. But also, she went to the library to look for him, which also meant that she knew that's where he would probably be. I don't know if there just aren't a lot of options to be, but just like, it just feels like she has more of a relationship with him even before this than her father is aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So,
now I'm even thinking,
definitely is pissed at his father.
What if the whole scene where the grandpa president, what's his name, Kane, I think it is, what if that whole scene when Jeremy and Presley are sitting down in the virtual golf, and he walks in and all mad and like, what are you doing here, and this and that, what if he is just like his mind, because obviously he has dementia and whatnot, what if there's something that he remembers of the night? What if he went in there? Because he was sneaking out of that whatever house they had in the backyard, and that's just a reaction of him from that night that the president died, and maybe he just doesn't remember, obviously, because he has his own problems. I didn't want to think about the kids. Well, I hadn't really thought about the kids. I was honestly focused on everyone else, so I'm a little bit.
But I mean,
I mean,
if you're Sinatra, I just think she'd be a good candidate because she comes from two capable parents. You know how she's doing in school. If you did want an extra sleeper cell, she would definitely be someone who could be close to the president if something were to happen. Somebody in his circle that he would trust because she's an extension kind of her father. So potentially,
So we're
yeah.
saying it was Presley. Is that the final answer now, or
I
did you guys
actually
have somebody else?
based on what we have now through 5 episodes, I'm saying
Yeah.
Presley's on my board.
she's on my board, but I think if she did it, it was probably with Jeremy. Like, I don't know that she actually killed the president. I can see that being a thing that he did, and then she helped to cover up. Just because I think it's more likely that the son would do it, because he's clearly got issues with his dad.
See, I don't think he would do it because if they both at least did it or in the same room, it awkward. Because we see their whole conversation. Like, why would they be lying to each other during their whole
Yeah.
conversation?
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Damn.
kind of. But I just they I don't know that they're the most likely. It's just like, you know, I don't
think
they're
ultimately-
doing something shifty. At least one of them is doing something shifty.
Yeah. I think Sinatra for sure is the mastermind. There's no question about that. I don't think this is somebody else that snuck up and did it without her directs. So that's why I keep. I don't know. That's why I kind of
I got
thinking
a
about the
question for you.
kids. Like I don't. It could be Presley. Damn it, man.
No, but I got a question for you about Sinatra. What's our lady? What's her? That's her code name.
Yeah,
We
I
don't even say
forgot
her
her
real name.
name.
But how much attention do you think she gives her daughter? Because something seems off about their relationship. Because she seemed very invested in her son who was sick. He
Yes.
unfortunately passed away before any of these events happened. But
Mhm.
it doesn't seem like she was able to redivert her attention truly back to her daughter. And I'm not sure if that can possibly put her as a maybe suspect, or I don't know. Something seems off about that
No,
relationship.
yeah, especially since, again, it seems like Sinatra's husband isn't there. It seems she said this destroyed her marriage. But
Yeah.
again, if I'm a teenage kid and I know that my parent had the ability to save my other parent and chose not to, especially if it felt like it was over something as like minor as a divorce, because it doesn't seem like maybe they were fighting, but there's no indication that there was any like abuse, any like anything like that going on. It seems like it was just, so I would be fucking pissed at my mom for being like, well, our marriage fell apart because our son died, so you get to stay out there and die. I wouldn't be thrilled.
I thought I saw him down there. Was he not down there?
I didn't think he was.
The husband?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he is down there because I remember when she was writing that speech or whatever for the new president, he was laying down on the bed and she looked at him and whatnot. So I think he is down there.
See, I told you guys face blindness. Here is an example.
European man with a big beard. It could have been Rubén.
It could have been me,
It
man.
could have been a Puerto Rican man. We don't know.
It could have been me. It could have been me. Although I don't know, man. Like Elle said, it could have been. There could have been some racist people up there with those billionaires. So
Yeah, oh yeah. Now, I was worried about Grandpa for a second when he grabbed Presley. I'm like, now are you misremembering her for a different reason?
Yeah.
Like, y'all not welcome in this house. I'm like, oh, what you mean by that, Grandpa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a moment where I was like, is that, and I'm still not 100% convinced that I don't know, especially given how his son is. I think the father, grandfather, I don't know. He's getting a bit of a side eye.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I do wish Cal could have truly heard how his dad felt. That I know he'll never know that his son didn't hear it, but at least the grandson heard it and heard that he did make his dad somewhat proud, even if he was just following the instructions his whole life.
Mm-hmm. I thought they did such a good job, by the way, with showing that very bad cycle that has been going on between father and sons, meaning Cain passing on crazy trauma to, or not, he didn't pass trauma to him. How do you say, he forced trauma into him. Because as we saw, Cal wanted to, get out of the family business. He actually wanted to be like his mother, who turns out she was a teacher as well. And then the guy's like, hell no, you're doing this. And it felt so real. And it honestly sold me on the idea of, or the fact that that is how things fucking work nowadays. Because that switch, as soon as he told him, hey, I want to be a teacher, like I want to follow this passion, blah, 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 and it's not what you're forcing me to do, I really don't like it. And that switch of Cain, where he goes, okay, no, this is actually what we're going to do. We're going to get you into politics. You're going to either go to Kentucky, or no, you're going to go to Kentucky and you're going to either run as I think he said, a Senate Democrat or a Republican governor. And I'm like, that
Also,
has to be the fucking way it works a lot of times nowadays. Like,
I didn't super understand, like, for Kentucky, I know this isn't the point. I know it's not the point. But why a Democrat as senator and a Republican as governor? Because it feels like Kentucky is fairly red, and it is a lot more likely that states will vote for, like, we see red states vote for Democratic governors and Democratic states, like, vote for Republican governors fairly frequently. So I know it's not the point. I was just confused because it feels like it should be the other way around.
I can almost see it in terms of, for the Senate, he was going to run as a Democrat because you can rally a bunch of college age kids, maybe. Because I was about to say by district, but it's a Senate, so there's no district. And maybe that was the plan. We're going to rally the youth if you were running for the Senate, but for the governor, you can just stay to the tried and true folks because they're going to come out and vote for the governor. Maybe depending on what time the election year was happening. Because if it's an off year for the governor, not during the presidential race, maybe that could affect how it goes on turnout versus the Senate.
Like Kentucky, just isn't Andy Bashir from Kentucky?
I believe so. Yeah.
So like there. I mean, the only thing I can think of is, like, maybe in the Senate, the way the numbers would shake out is he would have, like, Joe Manchin-esque, like, power in the Senate as a Democrat, as opposed to, like, if he was a Republican, maybe he would have less power. Maybe that was it. I know it wasn't the point. It just confused me.
No. Yeah, I think it kind of threw me off as well. But ultimately, the fact that he was so fast to it, where he knew, that he had thought about this quite a bit. And honestly, probably would have not even needed Cal to come up straight and say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. He was going to get him to do it at any point because he had his own plans. And as we saw, he did have his plans to use him as a pawn in his game of doing the whole cave world and whatever. So yeah, I thought they did such a good job in that, which it also leads me somewhat to ask you guys, which obviously Sterling K. Brown has been incredible, but what have been some of your like favorite moments throughout the show so far, obviously?
I'll just go real quick just because I can't let Elle beat me. Seeing Billy's story, Billy Pace. When I saw Billy in episode 1, I'm like, I was all in on Agent Billy. When at the end where Gabrielle said, hey, I got a message, you can't trust Billy, I'm like, that don't make sense. I know Billy got a good heart. I can see that. And as we learned, Billy did have he was a killer. He definitely was. He was a mercenary. He was all that. But I knew Billy just wanted a family. Billy was getting that. If only
the new Billy down in that cave was a good Billy. Well, good Billy.
Billy was always good.
A better Billy.
He look, all I know is when the dog went outside, the dog didn't die, right?
Exactly, dude. Yes.
He killed his uncle because I actually skipped forward 20 seconds and then I saw his expression and I was like, okay, I'm going to go back 10 seconds. But I did not want confirmation for whether or not the dog died because I just couldn't emotionally handle it. I don't know what that says about us as people because I know I'm not alone in that. I don't know why it's so much less upsetting to me to see people die than like a dog, but somehow I was like, I can't handle the dog thing. People fine, but not the dog.
Not the dog. That's where your clear lines draw.
But all right.
No, that was a good moment. I loved it.
So, like, honestly, the uncle needed to go. The dog did not need to go. So that was. I mean, a traumatizing moment for like a 12-year-old or whatever he was. But I'm just saying, the right. If somebody was going to lose their life there, the right person lost their life.
Yes.
Ooh.
But
yes.
But also, yeah, he wasn't great. He did some. He's
pretty bad things. But so what did you say, Mark? Like in terms of some of the favorite moments?
Just see that episode of us getting a lot of Billy, getting his backstory, getting how he became Agent Billy
that's
Case.
what I thought.
I think that was probably one of my, especially just favorite episodes.
Yeah. How about you, Elle?
I don't know, because the other thing is that I have had a very hard time really deciding which characters to get attached to, because I don't trust any of these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Xavier is, I'm fairly certain that he's trustworthy. And if he's not, he probably killed the president for a good reason. You know, it's like, I'm just going to blindly trust that. It's like how I feel about Bloodraven, except that he probably deserves it and Bloodraven probably doesn't. But it's just like, I'm just going to trust blindly because just whatever. But other than him, it's like, I just, like Billy was kind of like ringing like my spidey senses from the start, and then he seemed to settle in and be okay, and then it was like, okay, no, yeah, maybe he should have been, just because it's like, I don't know, just something about that felt off to me, the whole like not being there, and it just felt like a cover. It just felt like sketchy, and in hindsight maybe it was sketchy because he fell asleep, but
one of his girlfriend drugged him.
Do you guys think that was poisoned? That the food was poisoned? Like he just died because his girlfriend poisoned him? Was the food that made him sick?
Agent Collins?
No, Billy. Like he died because like Billy died because his girlfriend poisoned him. But in the first episode, like I don't know, was that poison? Because apparently he ate food that really disagreed with him.
Gave him a really bad stomach ache. Yeah.
And I thought he was lying about that. I was kind of like, I don't know that I believe you. But
we saw him. He had a stomach ache.
In hindsight, I just like, I don't know. Do you guys think he could have been poisoned there?
Wait. I'm putting... Okay. So let's go back to the first episode, and maybe we can start we're 49 minutes in. First episode, Billy has to go, and he calls in Jane because he has to go and drop the ball. What? So Jane maybe poisoned him enough to where it wasn't like a mound or whatever like we saw in episode 4, just to get him out of the place, because she knows that nobody could fight Pace. Nobody could beat Billy on 101 or whatever. And then at that time, maybe that's when the whole thing with the president went down, or like in between that whole change of shift and whatever.
Yeah, it made him extra tired that night, and maybe the stomach issues were just a byproduct, but like he was extra knocked out.
Yeah. Or maybe he wasn't even the target.
Yeah.
Maybe the president was the original target and he didn't, I think he like skipped food and then they ended up needing to, kill him a little more violent.
Jane had to be. Now I'm adding Jane on the for sure list of she is involved. Like
I don't,
she had a really
I
how do you say
I think she had a
um
role.
a
yeah.
big role, I think,
Well,
in his death.
I think we're going to learn about who else had a potential role
I mean, she said that she was like the biggest person they could find to take him out.
that she knows of.
Yeah. But
Because
that
Billy
just,
didn't know that there was somebody else who was bigger and badder. There could be.
but that does indicate that it's like, this isn't the first time she's done a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
just like looking back at that, it felt off at the time. And maybe it felt off not because Billy was lying, but something sketchy was still going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had plenty to talk about. I wanted to say, I know we talked about it before, but I wanted to kind of make sure of the like how we're gonna go about episodes and whatnot. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did we agree on like episodes as they come out, especially now with Paradise? We discuss the episode and maybe we'll try two things. Either going kind of a scene by scene approach, but it's honestly more of us, going through the notes that we took. We're not going to be super in detail of like, oh, Xavier picked up a glass of water and was drinking. No, it's like
Unless we
the
think the
most
glass of
important
water
thing that
was
happened.
poisoned. In
Exactly.
which case we
True,
should
true,
definitely.
true, true. So just so you guys would know, as in whoever is watching, which at this point it's just gonna be probably us, but if anyone finds this podcast, which we hope you do, just know that we'll be testing out a few things. In the first few episodes, we'll try the scene by scene and see how it goes with that. And then we might try as well just maybe open conversation of random things throughout the episode. What do you guys think? I feel like we have talked about that, but
Yeah, I think that's good to try it out. And the good thing about this show is there's still so much mystery for us to try to unravel. Is what Agent Collins doing? Is it the correct thing to do right now? Does Sinatra, is she losing a step? We don't know, but I like going through all the important plot points of an episode and just kind of discussing them.
Yeah, I think that it would be good for us to maybe have an episode after we talk about episode 8 to talk about the season as a whole and where we think things might go. Because I feel like if we put that with episode 8, we're not going to do either of them a whole lot of justice because it's just too much. So yeah, what do you guys think about that?
listen, I'm down for whatever. We can definitely
Hey, I like it. The people heard it here first. We're gonna do episode 8, and then we're gonna come back and do the whole season to talk about all the cool revelations we got.
listen. This is what we can do. We'll do that other episode after the finale. It can be like people send in voice recordings. I can maybe try and set that up. People, we have an email, bingingmediapodcast@gmail.com. Send us questions there or thoughts about. So maybe we can include that in that episode that you're
Yeah.
mentioning. Oh, I think that's a really good thing. I like it.
Mhm.
Before we go, are you guys watching anything else besides this? Because I'm watching a lot of things and I'm honestly like mind blown at all the incredible content that's out there right now.
um, I guess some of the things I'm watching. I'm watching The Pit on Max on HBO. That's a good medical drama.
Yeah.
Watching Love Me Some Abbott Elementary. Season 4 is going great and strong. I'm still watching some anime here or there. Been falling off a little bit. Got to get back on my anime horse.
How about you,
I'm
El?
mostly honestly reading.
Oh, okay.
I've binge watched the BBC miniseries of Pride and Prejudice a few times. I don't know if we want to cover that. I feel like it maybe isn't quite the vibe. I just needed a comfort watch. But honestly, mostly I've been I've been trying to take care of my mental health by reading about horrible historical events like massive pandemics and, you know.
It's what helps you. That's the important part.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The nice thing about like reading about horrible epidemics, pandemics, reading about World War II is that like it really helps contextualize things. Like, you know, it's like, okay, well, it could be worse. Like it could definitely be worse. Here's an example of how it could be worse. So mostly I am reading, but I am always up for adding a TV show in there.
All right.
Awesome. Well, I think this is goodbye, people. We'll get better at doing the pod, which I thought it was great. It's just that if we don't have an intro song or anything on this episode, expect it on maybe some other episode. But I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. And before we go, tell people where they can find you. I think we should definitely always shout out our stuff. So if you want to start, Elle.
So I am still from Brooklyn on most things, mostly TikTok. I'm starting to do YouTube. If you're interested in epidemics and pandemics, I'm doing a series about that in sci-fi and fantasy. So, you know, if you want to hear about awful things, but in a world that's not ours, you know, you can find me there.
I like that.
But yeah, I'm in most places, but those are the places I'm most active.
Yeah, and for me, at House of Nettles, mainly on TikTok. Also tried to expand to YouTube, so follow me there, House of Nettles as well. And if you got Blue Sky, go follow your boy on Blue Sky. House of Nettles, man, that's me.
Yep, I'll say the same thing. YouTube, Crossroads. I'm also over on Blue Sky. I feel like we really need to promote that app because I don't want anything to do with X. So yeah, you guys can check us out there. Obviously the TikToks and Instagram, although Instagram, whatever. It's still there. But yeah, you can follow me there. TikTok and all that good stuff. TikTok as long as it's here.
Back in the App Store.
Yeah, exactly. So I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being here. This was our first episode of Binging Media. We'll be talking about TV a lot, and in this case, it's Paradise. And again, I had an awesome time. So I hope you all have an awesome day, night, weekend, whenever you listen to this podcast episode. Just be safe and have a good time.
Yes. Bye, guys.
See ya. Bye-bye.